Hi guys. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I was trying to troubleshoot my beauty cam here, and there we go. And it was black, and I thought it was OBS's fault, and it turns out I had the lens cap on. Pro tip number 1: take the lens cap off your camera. It's a great start. See how our focusing works nowadays. I want to show you these little holes I've been making. Alright, the autofocus is snappy, but it's still showing those darn rectangles. But anyway, you go away eventually, right? It's still showing stuff. I've hit the display button enough times. It really needs to just stop, but it will not. It refuses. It wants to show all the things. It's just so proud of all of those features it has. Darkwinged Angel, aka Amy, popping over to the Twitch. OMG, this is a double surprise. I'm doubly surprised. I feel like I'm offline over there. Can no one see me? I feel like I'm not being restreamed properly. It says I'm online on my Restream.io. The actual window is showing me offline. Let me see. Can you guys see me? I wonder if I have a weird setting on. It says up in the corner that I'm streaming creative. That's what it claims. Darkwinged Angel says it's fine. So you can see me, you can see my art, you're saying. Nod once if you can see Bowmark nodding. Alright. I'll just take your guys' word for it. It's really disturbing. I'll just cover that window and pretend that OBS is my Twitch window. Hey, welcome everyone. We are hot and heavy in the middle of getting some fancy dreadlocks on Mr. Bowmark here. I have these little hair extensions, aka hair plugs. They're literally both. They're hair plugs and hair extensions. And you can see I'm making the little slots to stick them in. And for those of you not hip to the jive of why this is happening, it is because when I made the original sculpture in ZBrush, I had his hair. Here's a smaller print of it. Had his hair going out in all these wild little frays, and it was great, but they kept getting bubbles to the point where it was just so problematic that I went into ZBrush, squashed all the hair down to fit up to his head really closely. Let's go back a little bit so you can see holistically what the problem was, and that just ended up giving him kind of a to troubleshoot why my connection is crapping in and out. Let me know, because I don't have the first clue. It goes red and I'm like, well, out of my hands. I don't know what to do about that. That's cool. To this, I'm just gonna do a little bit of painting something. Yeah, did it, and I bought it and I wanted to paint it. So far I've done the water silver, and I wanted to, so it would be reflective. I did a test patch on the bottom where I did a patch of silver, and then I did some blue ink over it, and it's kind of got the watery sheen that I want. Yeah, I don't think my kid's playing anything, although I feel like he might be watching YouTube. Let me go scream at the rest of the house real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, I successfully yelled at everyone to get off their GD computers. Hey Van Morta, how you doing, Happy Potato? Let's see, anything happened while I was gone? Grimalkin's over on YouTube. How's it going, Grimalkin? Popping in and out. Yeah, it looks, I think I see me now. I mean, I see me from like 30 seconds ago. Anyway, I'm gonna do this, and you guys will see it or you won't. How's life going, Amy? Haven't seen you for a couple weeks. Did you finish all your tests and such? You're always studying for some next big test. I'm using FW Acrylic Artists ink. Now this is only for artists, you guys, so don't get any big ideas. Can I manage to get me in the frame? There we go. Okay. Yeah, Dude Gamers is back again. Welcome, Yeah, Dude Gamers. Ready to see some sweet original Legend of Zelda water paint application. Okay. As always, the rule is do the first application of anything in a back little test type area that is not going to be seen very well. Well, it looks like it's having some trouble sticking to the silver paint. I don't think I was having that trouble before on this piece, but it may have just been because I was using a bigger brush and there's more texture on the bottom of this for it to pool into, I think is what's going on there. Amy says it's been okay, finished all APs. Yeah, currently scheduling my summer. And then, is that a frowny face for scheduling your summer? You should be, that should be awesome, right? Van Morta, out of sync again. Yeah, my, desktop computer, I thought it was running Windows 10, and I found out it wasn't. And that is my leading, suspicion for why my beautiful art cam was not working with it. So, I had my friend take it away to do a Windows 10 thing. And I have not got it back yet. So hopefully when I get it back, we will have the best of both worlds. We will have a pretty camera, and my lips and voice will be in sync. And what a glorious day that will be. In the meantime, I'll just make sure to keep my head tilted down so you can't see my mouth, and it won't be as disturbing. Not best for audience engagement, but then again, neither is a weird out of sync voice. So, you know, I just try to make do. Getting a consistent coat of blue on here is going to be a challenge because I keep needing to push it around to get it. Look how far that goes, though. Trying to decide if maybe I want to do a little bit of texture on it to give it, maybe lean into the inconsistency to give it some just kind of noise around the shore sort of thing, so it can look like it's lapping against the shore. Oh, Nightbot's still unhappy. Yeah, and I will work on programming that correctly at some point when I remember it and it's not 10 minutes before a stream. That sounds like a good time to do that. Sigrid over on YouTube says, good morning from Denmark. Hey, Sigrid, welcome. Oh, sorry, I mean, welcome. You can't see my mouth speaking, so it won't be out of sync, but I welcome you. Grimalkin says, my mom says hi and wants you to know that she's hooked now. Haha, excellent. I'm like drugs. The kind of drugs that moms take. I don't know what's the popular drug amongst moms these days. Well, I mean, I guess it's my channel. Josh Foreman's art stream is the popular drug amongst mothers. Yeah, Dude Gamers is guessing that Quaaludes may be the answer. We should poll all the moms that we have on the stream, see if that's accurate. I'm really liking how that water's looking. It's got some beautiful reflection to it. My scheme is coming together. That reminds me, the guy who did this print just put a larger size map on sale for only, what was it, like $30 more than this one cost. And it's like, I want to say it's like 10 inches long. So I totally bought that. So I've been suckered into buying 2 of these. And that one's fully painted and has this crazy wood border. It's super cool. Also picked up a couple of his 8-bit figurines. Just cool. They made an amiibo of Link that was, you know, voxel style. And, but you could only get them for like $30 or something ridiculous. And I swear I ordered one and just never got it, or I got it and lost it or something. I was really bummed about that. But this guy came along and saved the day. He made his own, sold them, so. Alright, we'll look at that. Actually, what is this? This is odorless mineral spirits. I'm gonna see if I can clean up some of the edges I accidentally hit. I don't know if this is the best substance to do it with, but you see right here. Is that too close for you, Mr. Camera? Come on. There we go. Yeah, so right here, accidentally sloshed the water up on shore like a drunken sailor. It doesn't look like this is actually washing it off as much as I hoped it would. Yeah, dude says any mom hooked on those prescription Josh Foreman is cool in my book. Yeah, prescription Josh Foreman. Consult your doctor before taking Josh Foreman. Man, this does not want to come off of the ground. I mean, I'm probably going to be mostly painting over it anyway, but the less, you know, the color's different underneath the ground color, the better. Oh no, now I'm pulling up the blue with this paintbrush because it had too much stuff in it. Let's see if I have another one. Here's another itty bitty one. Oh man, I think the oh wow, did I just totally wreck this? So using the odorless mineral spirits, I think, and I was scrubbing up here, and I think it leaked down into there, and so the paint won't stick to it now. I wonder if it just needs to dry for a little bit. Alright, put this aside for a minute. Amy jumped back over to the YouTubes. I've had a lot of people jumping back and forth. At some point, I'm at that like 90% sure mark that I'm going to be shutting down the YouTube stream in favor of Twitch. Just kind of waiting for the right moment to do it. I want to give everyone enough of a chance to switch over to Twitch if they don't have an account, to see how cool Twitch is, how dynamic the creative channels are over there. Grimalkin says, she's playing WoW and I'm sitting with your stream on my phone. Amy says, your mom sounds cool. Grimalkin says, I need to go. Mom needs me to go help with grocery shopping. That's fair. I said I won't go if you're still streaming, but then she said if I don't go, I don't get fried chicken. Oh, wow. Fried chicken or Josh Foreman's stream? That's... Ooh. That's not a choice I would want to make. I would not want to force that choice on anyone. It's like, would you rather lose your arms or your legs, you know? Grimalkin says, Amy Mum's response was, I am cool. Lol. Oh, lol. Darkwing Angel over on Twitch says, you can't, or I'm in both, you can't escape. Yes, she is omnipotent. Okay, so let's get back to Mr. Dreadlock here. So here are the considerations I have to make when I'm making these plugs. The slots, the hair needs to be able to slot into it easily, just pop in and out. And because I'm going to be casting this upside down, there can't be any, well, for instance, if there was a piece of hair coming out like this, then this whole area here would end up being filled with air, right? Because it's not attached to the thing, and the resin fills from that way going this way, and so this would all be filled with an air pocket. So I need to make sure that there's no areas around here that that do that. So like this part, let's see if I can get a profile. I can't quite see it, but there's a part here that goes out, but it rejoins the head right past it, so that should work fine. And then I've got these guys going on over here. Okay. This little hole here might be a little deeper than I'm comfortable with, maybe a little rougher. That kind of stuff just tends to invite mold degradation. Like the mold rubber will catch in any little roughness in there and have a tendency to then rip. And once it rips, this hole will be gone in the next cast. So I'm just widening it out a little bit. Widening and smoothing. Dozer popping over on YouTube. Hey Dozer, haven't heard from you in a while. I'm going to be putting out the message to anyone who follows my my YouTube live stream that the live portion of the stream is not going to be a thing on YouTube much longer. You'll still get a recording of the streams, but the live part of it is going to need to be all on Twitch. The reason for that is that YouTube does not have a way to monetize my live streams well, and Twitch does. And so I need to be making them big bucks because I need to publish this novel, and to publish this novel successfully, I need to advertise it, and to advertise it, I need money. And normally I wouldn't be so money focused, but it really comes down to the fact that my co-author and mom has poured years of hard work into co-authoring these books with me. And so I feel like I have an obligation to her to make sure that I am making the very strongest possible launch for this book series. And streaming on YouTube is keeping me from doing that. So Dozer, out of curiosity, do you have an account on Twitch? And if so, would you do me a solid and go over there and follow me on Twitch? This little slot in here, you might be able to see there's actually a brass tube. That's so, because this hair chunk that's going to be hanging out of there, there's no other place for it to connect to the body, so it needs to be a really like clear, strong attach point. These other ones like these, they're pressed up against the surface enough that just generally getting them in the right spot will be fine. So they've got kind of weird, funny shaped connection points, but it's totally fine for what I'm doing, I think. I have not done a ton of molding where I do separate parts and attach them together. This is just kind of what I've absorbed from seeing other people doing it. Darkwing Angel on Twitch says, Josh, what you do is upload a video or put up a community post or something on YouTube when you start streaming and direct people to the Twitch stream. So someone looking on YouTube will still be able to be notified when you stream. Ah. Yeah, Dude Gamer says, the vicious cycle of being a creator. Yes. Especially vicious when I'm creating like 28,000 different things. Let's see, so I want to go back to what Amy said. A community post on YouTube. I don't know how to do that. How do you do a community post? That's a good word to remember. Let's see, I have a community tab here. If I go to it, what do I see? I see comments. I see likely spam. Yeah, I just see comments. Oh, messages, subscribers, super chat, community settings, and credits. Amy, is this something you've seen another creator do on their channel? Alright, so there's some areas I need to fix here. So you can see the difference between this dreadlock and where it ostensibly continues here. So I'm going to be sculpting more. I believe I'm going to be only sculpting on the detachable parts for the rest of this process, so that I know that if the plugs fit perfectly, then I don't want to sculpt on the base at all, because then I'll have a problem of detaching them again. So, oh, that reminds me, there's another thing I wanted to do. These are molds that I made by pressing this mold material onto the dreads, and then I'd take the epoxy clay when it's soft, you know, squash it in there, and then I have a recreation of a dread. The problem is I'm needing to texture on all these weird, awkward shapes, and these stamps are not cutting it. So what I want to try to do is find big, smooth areas, like maybe this one up here, where I can make a very thin stamp that's flexible, and I can put it wherever I need it. So that is what I shall do now. Let's see. Amy says, yeah, quite a lot actually. Many people are slowly moving to Twitch from YouTube. Yeah, it just makes sense. I mean, Twitch having the subscription thing on YouTube, if you subscribe to someone, all that is doing is saying, hey, I want to sometimes occasionally be notified when they go on. And on Twitch, it's like, hey, here's $5 a month. And so if I get a couple of those guys, that's a significant percentage of what I'm currently making. So it would be pretty foolish of me not to do that. And I can't have that option on Twitch without becoming an associate? Something that starts with an A. Affiliate? And to sign up to be an affiliate, you have to sign a contract that says you won't stream to other places within 24 hours. So that is what is prompting this. Letha hopping over on Twitch says, I'm slow with new stuff, but Twitch seems pretty cool. It is cool. Yeah, I have not been on it a ton until I got on it myself. And as I'm discovering new creators, it's pretty cool. Where did I see you today? I saw you over on Bjorn something's Twitch stream. He had a really cool one where I learned a lot of stuff about slobs, which is something SLOBS. So OBS is the program that lets you put all the overlay and stuff on your stream, and then Streamlabs, that's what the SL stands for. Streamlabs has a version of OBS called Streamlabs OBS, which is slobs for short. That's a pretty terrible thing to have for short, but it is that nonetheless. And yeah, I was picking up some cool tips, like how to get my, I believe I'm going to be able to have a, can't think of words, a playlist, for instance, that people will be able to make requests on. You know, Amy can request to skip songs that have whispering in them, and that sort of thing. See, I'm trying to find areas that are fairly broad and that I can get the rubber pretty thin. I think that'll be very helpful. And also, you know, each one is going to be a subtly different shape, which will be helpful in texturing these additional dreads. Yeah. So that stuff just takes a couple minutes to set. Let's see. I keep meaning to do this little thing. I still have to clean up this back area here. Yeah, Dude Gamer says Slobs is right good. Just installed it the other day and I'm really impressed. Yep, me too. Bjorn's Workshop. Yes, that's what it's called. So this little inner ring of shapes is going to mostly be covered with I need to smooth out this whole back section here. And it's going to mostly cover these inner guys, which is why I did not work hard on making them particularly symmetrical or well spaced out or anything like that. Oh my gosh, I had an idea for the streams, which I did not get a chance to do yet, but coming soon. Wait for it, you guys. I'm gonna have a topic of the stream. I recently came across this incredible poster that has a huge list of cognitive biases that are kind of arranged in categories, like subcategories, and by what tends to activate those biases. And that is just like such a super interesting, super fun, super important in my mind topic. Like, I feel like 90% of self-help issues, where it's like, I want to be a better me, you know? I think I'm going to read this book by Oprah or Tony Robbins or someone and listen to their advice. I think 90% of that is short-circuited. You can do it yourself just by studying cognitive biases, because the vast majority of mistakes that I've made in my life and personality flaws that I have in my life, I can easily look at that chart and be like, oh, I am obviously doing this dumb thing that human brains are just prone to do, and because of my personality quirks, I'm more prone to do these particular ones. And so that sort of thing is super fun to talk about, in my opinion. And, you know, when people don't have other things they want to talk about, it'll be nice to be able to drone on about something that I'm super excited about while I make art. And I legitimately think it's like a really important message to get out into the world. I think it's almost criminal that we don't teach this stuff in school. Like, I think 80% of what we teach in school is practically useless. Or is becoming increasingly useless as society changes and technology changes our society. There's a book called A Whole New Mind, I think. Is that by Steven Pinker? That sounds right to me. Where he's talking about how right brain thinking is going to be the dominant mode. The successful people in the world are going to be utilizing right brain thinking and strategies in the future. And he lays out a pretty compelling case for why. It has a lot to do with how our technology is augmenting our thinking, our business, our consumerism, our, you know, everything. And that in turn changes the value, like what's perceived as valuable character traits in people. And creativity and being able to put together different ideas in new ways is becoming more and more important. Whereas that used to be something that, you know, in the olden days, a very small percentage of people needed to ever worry about that. It wasn't really useful to most people throughout most of history. As long as there were enough people innovating in enough ways that, you know, oh look, I figured out a new way to, you know, keep my fire burning longer or whatever. But now I'm really droning, wow. Yeah, Dude Gamers on Twitch says, I feel like it helps that Twitch was created around streaming, so that's where their focus is. YouTube focuses more on pre-recorded content, so streaming there feels like an afterthought. I know plenty of people that have found success on YouTube streams, however, they really depends on your taste and what you're going for. I think you've got a good niche for Twitch as a creative. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Alita says, I think that would be a great topic for discussion. I'm not biased, of course, but it's good for other people to learn from. That's right. Alita's not biased. I just posted this rant about how ridiculous it is that thinking that you're supposed to not be biased is a thing, and it's like, that is impossible. No one can not be biased, and we need to get past this ridiculous idea that our news sources and our education and our science and all that other stuff needs to be unbiased, because that just makes you hide the actual biases that you have instead of declaring them, admitting them, and working with others in collaboration to find a balance between other people's biases. If everyone is incentivized to hide what their biases are because then they're biased, which is a bad thing, that can't happen. Everyone's just walking around lying to themselves and others, pretending to be the ultimate unbiased source of whatever. And that's not good for individuals, it's not good for society, it's not healthy for yourself to think of yourself that way. I've got weird opinions, you guys. That's one thing. I was thinking about this the other day. Yeah, dude, gamers, you might have an opinion on this. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with Twitch streamers, or even YouTube streamers for that matter. From all the art streams that I've seen, I feel like the variation of topic that comes up and my hot takes on said topics. Hey, hon, look at that cute dress. You look so cute.
Guess what?
Hold on, I'm gonna show everyone how cute you are. Look, guys, my wife's cute. It's just that tiny camera, so you can barely, you're just like half an inch tall.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Look at her hair, it's so purple. What's up?
So, this was the second seminar.
Yeah?
And, so earlier today while I was at PP, Dr. Marinova, she texted me, because remember I was like, oh, tomorrow night's like the thing, and I haven't really heard, right? So she texted me like today, right when I get to physical therapy, like around noon, right? And she was like, oh yeah, so, are you gonna go to the film? And I was like, what? Because I have no idea what she's talking about. And I was like, wait, but you're still doing the seminar thing tonight, right? She's like, yeah. And you go, are those like different things? And she's like, oh, and she texted me like, yeah, I'll tell you about it. And I was like, crap, because she said it's at 1 tomorrow. That I do have a hand thing, therapy, appointment. But dude, I'm canceling it, and I will pay the fee. I don't care, because what the
sounds
film
exciting. Is it Deadpool 2?
No, I wish. But, I should buy tickets, but because we're sophisticated, right? So this is insane. So when I got there today, she and her clinical assistants, right? They pulled me aside and they're like, so Marina was like, the film is actually the NIH, the National Institute of Healthcare, the people who produce our studies, medicines, like all this stuff, right? They approve all these drugs and whatever.
Okay.
They're actually going to be at the UW tomorrow.
Like that group of
actually
researchers
the
or
group,
whatever?
the association, our national healthcare people, whatever.
Nice.
They're going to be at UW. They're filming a professional film.
Okay.
And she wants me to come and be interviewed.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, what? She's like,
Gonna be world famous.
I just don't. She said, I have one other patient coming, and I really want you to come. She said that it's not that I want to, I don't want to look like I'm coming across as like, no, poo-poo, no medicine, blah, blah, you know what I mean? She's like as if I'm, I don't know, like going against them or something, because she's not, right? But the problem is medicines that we do have to fight, like acute onset headaches or migraines, they become ineffective or they just don't work, period, because of the things that are happening and building in our blood. And so if we get those CGRP levels back down, then if our migraines will reduce, our headaches will reduce, maybe all go away completely, or if they do come, all the like, we can take one of those medicines, like Image whatever, and it knocks the headache. So we finally have a way. We're not always having a migraine, but then when we do, we actually have a way to control it and cut it down and stop it. Yep. But none of those things, I mean, like for me, none of those worked. So anyways, yeah.
Darkwing Angel says Purple Heart. Yeah, Dude Gamer says Sweet Dress.
It was $10 at Old Navy today. Yeah.
$10.
I went to Old Navy for tights, and they didn't have it, but they had this dress.
Sigrid says you look cool too. Man, everyone agrees with me.
I was worried that when I showed up today, like with purple hair, because like they have not seen me with purple hair. I was like, I wonder if this just disqualified me
to speak to people.
Because like I don't look professional, but Natalia, she's always like, whenever I see her, she's always like, oh my god, you're so cute.
2 cookies is plenty for a day's calorie.
Yeah, it's really great.
I mean, if you're talking about the cookies at the mall that are like 3 feet across.
Basically, gluten-free Oreo size cookies.
Oh.
But
your surgery is next week, right?
What?
Your surgery is next week? No?
No, it's after Memorial.
Week after.
The week after.
Okay.
So it's like 2 weeks away. I don't even know, actually. It's at least 2 weeks away. And yes. Oh, and Laura said she does not want me to come in the day I have surgery. I'm like, but it's just my arm. Who cares? Like, I'll be early in the morning. She's like, no, I don't want you coming in. You need to rest. I'm like, that's the thing. I'm not groggy after surgery. I'm completely wide awake. And I'm going to have to be in a car like 2 days later.
But I mean, PT does put stress on your body, but then so does not having PT.
Yeah, but not this kind of PT. I don't know what time it is. How long do you have?
It's about 9. An hour or less.
You're going till 10?
Started at 8. I usually do about an hour or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to eat food because I can't really wait.
Okay.
Also, it's like, I want to go for a walk, and I want to, but no. It's like, because I think my liver's like, okay, you haven't eaten, for dumping sugar, boom, hyper, right?
Yeah.
Just a day, just an ordinary day. In Heather's world.
I think one thing I'm gonna try is how is my stream doing now? Is it doing? You stupid stream. Next stream I'm gonna do from my desktop computer. I'll do some more ZBrush. I want to see if it's because of something to do with. Although, I mean, I have this computer. Whenever I stream out here, I have a hardline wire going directly to my router, so it shouldn't have anything to do with where I am. Amy says it's fine now, but cutting out every once in a while. Out of curiosity, is my mouth in sync now? I'm wondering if when it reboots, if things go back into sync. Very much not in sync. All right, this should really mess with your head then. Was that cool or what? The video is faster than the audio. I assume you mean ahead of it. Yeah, hopefully I'll get my new computer back before the next stream and all these ridiculous technical issues will be taken care of. Because this does not reflect the quality bar that I strive for with my Breath of Studio Art Life branding. I think I should change the name to that. Breath of Studio Art Life. All right. Let's take these pretty hair decorations off. And actually, before I forget, I'm going to try to get some of this blue ink back on here. if I ruined it or not. Don't think I'll ever be able to even out the blue here. Best I can do is just kind of make it mottled and inconsistent enough everywhere that it looks like that's just what it is. All right. Aletha says, Breath of Studio Art Life has a nice ring to it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I think it'll especially sound good to people with dyslexia. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit foolish, a little bit brash, and try to do this back area, clay up this whole area. There's some areas I just need to touch up. And then I think I won't need to touch this part when I'm doing the hair stuff. I can just, I probably will end up with my fingers touching here, won't I? I don't want to keep dragging this out. I'm really happy with how I got these puffy acid scars looking. I'm going to be applying some of that to his eye scar. But like little puffy bits where the thread goes through. Okay, so then these guys are what I'm trying to do now. Okay. So at this step I'm going to try to make them blend in with the rest of the dreads, and then I'll have another step afterwards to clean up like just weird stuff on the bottom. So using Abe's epoxy sculpt, one of my favorite sculpting materials. Actually, before I do this, I do some real quick sanding. When I cut the dreads off of this part, you can kind of see a little bit of difference in the cheek topology there. So. And then I re-added some more material around the corners of the mouth. I kind of sanded them completely away from the last time I did it, so being careful to just sand around the edges this time. Letha says, the holes in the eye is an interesting optical illusion. See what I did there? Ollied Out said, bada bing. Hey, Ollied Out, haven't heard from you. Are you just here to be a human rim shot? Aletha's hype man. Yeah, that eye trick of digging, like I'll basically digging a hole out for the pupil and then making a little bit to create a highlight in there. That's an ancient sculpting trick that goes back to Greek times. Well, you know, Ollie, everyone needs a hype man in their lives every now and then, so I'm glad Aletha found one. what's going on back here. There's some weird texture that developed in the finish of the paint. I might have to just put a thin layer of clay over that. We'll see how well I can sand it away, but it's in such an awkward place for sanding, I don't think I'll be able to. Or maybe I can scrape it away. In general, I'm finding that trying to cover imperfections with a thin layer of clay almost never works out as like I hope it will. It ends up taking just as much, if not more, work to sand it and blend it in. Alright, back to the original task. Oiled Out asks, which programs and printer, etc. are you using? I sculpted Bowmark here in ZBrush. This guy was printed out at Shapeways with whatever their highest quality printer is. It was very expensive. I want to say this was 150 or 200 bucks for this print. This one was about $250, and this was a much lower quality print, and I've spent, I don't know, 10, 20 hours then either sculpting over or sanding, priming to get it to the quality level that I'm happy with. I just purchased a new printer, the Make Frozen, and I have yet to unpack it and really try to work with it, just because I'm trying to get this thing done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take some Vaseline, petroleum jelly, and I'm gonna slather that all around wherever the new clay that I'm going to be adding is going to touch the original sculpture, so that it won't stick to that. It will only stick to the dreadlocks. So this is probably the single most important part to work on right now, because it is super close to the focal point of the piece. So I'm going to start with that. my cool new stamps. So this is why I really needed these thin pieces, is so I can get them into these kind of little crevices. I think I'm going to want this dreadlock to have a little bit of an undercut onto the cheek to really maximize the opportunity that I have of, you know, I'm spending the time to mold additional pieces and attach them for the final cast, which gives me the opportunity to have added dimension, and so I'm going to take advantage of that to the maximum by rolling this part away from the cheek to just give the full illusion that this is a totally, you know, separate piece of hair. I also want this bottom part to be as smooth as possible because, again, the rougher it is, the more it's going to tear up the mold, and I'll be able to make fewer casts from it as a result. So you can see right here. So can we get a focus? But, come on. I paid $1,000 for you so you'd be able to do this. There you go. I just had to remind him how expensive he was. Okay. So you can see this little hole right there. When I cast this, if that hole is there, rubber is going to seep into there. And then when I pull it out of the mold, it's going to tug, pull, and rip the mold there. So there'll be a little gap, which will make it so that it won't fit perfectly onto the sculpture. So that's the sort of like little things I'm looking for. Little convolutions. Trying to decide how high up I want these hair plugs to go. I definitely don't want both tendrils to end in the same place, because that'll just kind of call attention to where the seam is. These are still nowhere near as clean as I would like them to be. But it's one of those things where if you plan where your seam's going to come from the beginning, it would be way easier to make a nice clean parting lines and kind of sockets. See, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get all the right texture on the shapes and maintain the connections as well as I want. So I'm going to focus my texturing on the joints. Hey, Bjorn Workshop, popping on. How's it going, man? Sorry, I'm out of sync. I'll keep my mouth covered so you can't tell I'm out of sync. My regular computer is in the workshop right now, so I'm on my drastically underpowered laptop, and it does not have a good time trying to do all the things I'm asking it to do for a stream. Alright, every once in a while it's really good to just step back, because I've had it, 2 inches from my nose. I'm going to take it back, look at the overall form. Like, the thickness down here is so much more than up here, so I may go in and do some additional sculpting up there, but I could do both at the same time, but the risk is that I have them touching and they stick together, and then I end up breaking them when I taking it apart. So yeah. So Bjorn, now that I know that you live around here, we totally gotta get together and do something at some point. You should IM me on Twitter or something and let me know like where you live, so we can find a place between us somewhere, or I don't know, you could come by the ArenaNet offices or something. So I'm just kind of putting in general imperfections into the surface here. Most of those are going to go away when I texture over it. But it helps to have that little bit of visual noise, slightly larger scale visual noise to begin with, and then when you layer on the smaller scale noise, it overlays nicely. Yeah, man, you should totally come visit me at the ANET offices. That'd be awesome. I forgot, I meant to, but lots of things happened today. But I'll talk to someone about if if you want to display your armor at the office, I am pretty sure I could swing something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go in and add to this tendril here. It just gets too fat all of a sudden. It's actually not uncommon for dreadlocks to get kind of poofy at the ends, poofier than they are at the, and sometimes it could be pretty drastic. But this is like, it just stays really consistent the whole time and then suddenly goes poof. And that's just one of those things that just makes your eye question it. You're like, I don't know if that's quite right. Oh, Bjorn's deleting messages and leaving with a smoke bomb. Boom. Were you were spamming emotes? I don't even know I have a setting to keep people from doing that. So that's good to know. You and your spam. Yeah, hit me up, Bjorn. We'll make something happen. Talifar says the books he and his mom are working on that this character is from are also awesome. And then says the armor is really amazing. We're all doing amazing stuff. Nightbot says Bjorn Workshop, how barbaric. Stop spamming emotes. Warning. Bjorn says, thanks. I'm really pleased with it. I want to do the Nightmare Court armor at some point. Oh my god, that would be amazing. I would have done that instead of the stag armor, but I wasn't quite ready for the complicated curves of that one yet. Bjorn says, Nightbot auto mod settings are pretty tight on default. Okay, well that's a great reminder because I don't want to constrain people's freedom to emote all over the place. Who am I to stand in the way of that kind of fun? I'll have to adjust those settings. Alright, I think that'll have to do it for that part. It's going to require more touch-up, but I think it's got the what's the word I'm looking for? The parts that move and touch and need to separate. Whatever the word for those things are, that's the important thing at this step. So, okay, next is this guy. I built up this this little poof here so that this could slot into it better, but I haven't really figured out how that's gonna actually do that. I also want to make sure it's not hanging at exactly the same distance as this, because that'll just create a weird vector. Again, something that will unnaturally pull your eye to it, make it think it's a bit unreal. So I either want it to go like way down here or up a little bit higher. I'm thinking down because I'm trying very consciously to cover up how the hair conforms so closely to the head and neck. So probably just add quite a bit to this bad boy. Add a little score to it so the clay will grab a little better. Lisa says, the suspense is killing me. Seeing Josh talk with no words and wondering what the words are going to be. It's all part of the act, Aletha. There actually isn't anything technically wrong. I'm just a really good ventriloquist. Alisa, how many other creative Twitchers have you discovered since you came on Twitch last week? Any great ones I need to know about? Chase my dream of being the best ventriloquist on YouTube. Alright. Oh, best ventriloquist in the world. Yeah, I'm not, well, am I on YouTube? I still am on YouTube, occasionally. When the stream deigns to let me onto YouTube. I want to go even further with it. I think I do. I want to take, like I said, maximum advantage of the fact that I'm casting these separately. AJ Baki says, Bjorn through full Elven, and, well, I mostly pop in for you, 3 for now. They're so conservative. Just very cautious. Just put a toe in. No, I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, we keep ourselves so darn busy. It's amazing we find time to watch anyone else be busy. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to re-up my Vaseline coat in here. And then I want to make sure I've got a little bit of the tip of this going into the brass tube I have inserted in there. AJ Baki says, did you answer the question about posting links? I don't know if I saw a question about posting links. Thanks for the heads up. Let me scroll back up and see if what I missed. Oh, let's see. You said, I was looking at pictures of friends doing mounted archery and I want to do that, but my gimpy shoulder says no. Oh, sad. Yeah, I don't see anything, any question, unless you're referring to a previous thing. Bjorn says, there are a bazillion wonderful creative people and they all have super unique personalities. I find that I'm more drawn to people than the content, since I lurk while working on stuff more than dedicated watch the creation of things. Yeah, that's clearly a big part of it. I'm curious to see how I fare in the marketplace of personalities on the Twitches. I don't know if my personality is the type that will do well on Twitch or not. I certainly enjoy talking to people. I've got a positive attitude. I am super open-minded to any topic anyone brings up. I like to get deep and philosophical, and I don't know, maybe that scares some people off, but maybe that will attract some people too. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Alright, now that feels good and dangly to me now. It feels like a real dreadlock just hanging out. It's like, yo, I had it with this neck, yo. I'm out. And it just did that, so, yes. Alright. Now on to the dark side. So for the book cover, I decided that I wanted to have the option of him having just the cheekbone profile, right, where you don't see any hair back there. Let me move my thumb a little bit. Or if you maybe rotated enough where you see some of these cool like highlights seeping up, rim lights coming up on the hair there. And then if that's the case, I want you to see some dreads going all the way down, right? What I wanted to avoid was mostly cheekbone, but then like one hair poking out like that, looking like a weird worm sticking out of his face or something. So this is the thing I settled for. It's actually a mix of things. It's these two guys, and then on top of it, a third popping out here. And again, keeping that profile in mind. So you're only going to see it if you also see these guys, but not if you're just doing cheekbone. So. I wonder if I need to pull this guy out while I'm gonna set this guy aside for a minute, because I feel like all this back and forth is gonna deform it, twist it, or break it. Bjorn says, too much to do and too few hours to do it in. Tell me about it, man. Let's see. Nightbot says, the alias you set this command to be of links does not exist. Yeah, I don't know. I need to just dig through my settings. I should set an alarm to do that tomorrow. Alita says, only so much time in the day, so I'm probably not going to follow a lot of people. I have a super busy schedule of playing Guild Wars 2 and watching Orange is the New Black. That's good media diet for you there. Bjorn says, so far so good. You're finding a great mix of talking with us versus describing what you are doing and why. I think you'll do well. Definitely like the idea of dreads peeking out below the cheek. That feels more balanced. And I don't know about shiz about visual art, so take my completely uneducated opinion as such. Consider it taken as such. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be educated to know when something just doesn't look right. A lot of times, I run into this problem personally, and I know many other artists who run into this problem of like, they have this conception in their head of what their piece is and what it means and what it's supposed to be, and then they show it to people, and people have just a totally different reaction. And rather than as an artist pivoting and saying, oh, I'm sending the wrong messages to get across what I'm saying. Instead, they get all huffy and they're like, well, no, you're thinking about it the wrong way. Consider this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, most art has to live just between the piece of art and the brain of the viewer. You're not going to have your Mr. Artist voice accompanying your piece of art and telling everyone how they're supposed to see it and think about it. So that's something I've learned through the years, is to really consider the feedback of non-artists a very valuable thing. Certainly in game design, that's imperative, because you're trying to create an experience, and if people are saying, hey, my experience is something else than what you were shooting for, you can't just be like, no, you don't understand. You don't get it, man. That's fine for fine art, but I'm not super excited about fine art. Darkwing Angel says, I mean, if I don't have much time, I just end up not talking in chat. That is acceptable. I will accept that answer. I mean, it is always lovely when you participate, but no expectations, you know? That's another trick I've learned as I've aged, is just expect almost nothing from anyone or anything, and you'll just be pleasantly surprised. Usually. Other times you're, suspicions are confirmed, but man, I can like so many more movies now that I don't go into them with expectations. Like this new Star Wars movie, I'm expecting it to be really bad. And you know what? It's probably just going to be mediocre. And I'll just have a big smile on my face because I'm going to be like, Star Wars, aliens, spaceship. And that's all I need, because I expected it to be terrible. And instead it will deliver some nostalgia and happiness. Bjorn says, although the old adage of whatever someone tells you that something, whenever someone tells you that something went wrong, they're almost always right. When they tell you why, they're almost always wrong. Yes, that is true. Well, when they are outside of the medium, when they don't have experience with the medium, that is the case. The Dunning-Kruger effect is in full effect. And they just assume they know what the problem is. They think they know they can diagnose it, and if they were doing it, they know they could definitely do it better. But, if you actually sat them down in the seat and said, okay, show me how to do it better, well, they'll be lost, but... However, yes, they will be right when they say, my experience was X. And you're like, well, shoot, I was aiming for Y. I better think about what I can do to get closer to X. That was a big lesson that I had to learn a really hard way on Super Adventure Box World 2, because, man, I destroyed myself to make that thing as huge and epic as possible. And then 90% of the feedback was, this is too hard, it's too long, it's not fun anymore. And I was so... angry is not the right word. Bitterly disappointed that I spent, I don't think I ever put in that much overtime into anything in my career. I've been working in games for over 20 years. I had never done where I would pull an all-nighter, like I would work for 36, 40 hours straight, go home, go to sleep for 8, 10 hours, wake up, come back to work, and I did that for like a solid month. And then leading up to that, it wasn't quite that much, but it was still like several all-nighters a week, you know, no weekends. You know, it was my opportunity to make the most epic, huge, like, Lord of the Rings thing ever. And it turned out, you know what people wanted from Super Adventure Box was not what I thought. I thought what I was delivering was this epic, platforming, magical game. And that's part of what it was, but that wasn't the main thing that people wanted out of it. What people wanted out of it was the fun, silly nostalgia trip that it provided, you know, to people who had nostalgia for that sort of thing. And so yeah, my first couple of feedbacks on the forum, or my replies to feedback on the forum, was not good. I mean, I never like yelled or used all caps or anything, but I was like, you're literally telling me that I gave you too much good stuff. That doesn't make sense. What do you mean? It took me a day or two, probably because I was just like super exhausted. was probably another reason I took that feedback hard. But yeah, Super Adventure Box is not about a super challenging platforming adventure where you're trying to it's just not the same, not working on the same emotional levers that a standalone game like that would. And I was thinking of it like a standalone game instead of like a fun little treat that happens every once in a while in a larger game. And so as a result, I was serving myself instead of my customer. And in so doing, like, wrecking myself physically and emotionally. I mean, I'm still proud of it. I still love it. I really like that we were able to address it, like go back in and put shortcuts in all the super long levels. So it's not like it was left on an entirely sour note, but it's a very valuable lesson, and I'm really glad I had it. And I'm glad I had it at a studio environment where that kind of failure is viewed by everyone from the management down as a learning experience, rather than, you know, you screwed up, you're fired. You know, that happens at some places. Darkwing Angel says, oh, just a bit of school stuff and art and make it still seem like a break. Oh, are you talking about summer vacation? Trying to fit everything I want to do into summer and having some trouble. It's not fun. Oh, that is frustrating. I'm doing a similar thing where I'm setting up a giant road trip for my son. He's graduating high school in the middle of next month. And to celebrate, me and him are going to do just a dad-son trip all around the western U.S. So we're going to hit all the major natural wonders, basically. All the cool national parks. And do some film project stuff along the way, because that, you know, that's the kind of people we are. We like to make weird, quirky, fun projects. So we'll do a big project together, a big road trip. It'll be great. There's so many incredible places to visit, and we have 2 weeks, and there's like no way that we're gonna be able to hit all the places that I would love to hit in that 2 weeks. And it's really frustrating. It's hard to not let that disappointment of where you can't go not affect how you feel about all the awesome places you are going, which is terrible. What a terrible curse to let the things that you can't experience taint the stuff that you can. Human brains, they're the worst. The worst! AJ is asking if Dark Week Angel has a website with art, and she says it's on DeviantArt. For people on YouTube, that's at Darkwinged Angel 616. AJ Baki says House 3 and 4 in SAB are still empty. I know, it's a travesty. I know, I'm waiting for the time when Mo taps me on the shoulder and he's like, all right, Josh, it's time. Here's your team, get to work. You never know, it could happen. All right, Bjorn, I'll accept your absence. Aletha, what did you buy a copy of? Something Darkwing Angel made? I'm just gonna snap this part off. It's getting in the way of my groove. Then I'm gonna drill. In fact, I think I'm just gonna drill straight through it. That way when I add clay to it, it will definitely stick in there. Aletha says, of the book Amy did art in. Oh, I missed that. Oh, most recently it's just been Hilt Cyan, the novel I told you about already, in YouTube chat as Amy. Oh, look at that. Hey, Sugar and Cider is over on YouTube. Says, hi, left you some comments and sent you a PayPal recently. All said to hopefully jog your memory. Told my oldest to check out your site. He's a linguist and loves creating languages and civilization. That is amazing. It makes me super happy. Also, thank you for the cash monies. That's very encouraging. Yeah. So I actually have a form on my website under the collaborate button or drop down, whatever. And it's like a form where you can just fill out, hey, here's what I'm an expert in. Here's how I know what I know. Here's my interests. And then that sends me an email, and then I can add him to a list. He doesn't have to go to that form. He can just email me directly, whatever. But it's there. I just want to point that out specifically for that sort of thing. Super excited to talk to linguists. We're actually in the middle of developing a tritonal language for the Varon race in the world, which they're a sea people, and they have mouths kind of like a river gar, if you've ever seen one of those. It's like a super long, skinny alligator jaw. But we want them to be able to speak something that passes for English, to be able to communicate with humans. So what I was proposing was that they actually have three, well, my mom came up with the idea that they're tritonal, like they speak 3 words at once, essentially. And so their sentences can be very compact and dense with meaning. but the kinds of sounds that you can make with, you know, a big long snout are obviously very different than what a human can make with lips and a tongue and this small little vocal cavity. And so I propose that they actually have 3 voice boxes that are different shapes and sizes on the way up. And so they can utilize some for making like plosives, like puh and tuh, those kind of sounds that lips and a roof of the mouth and tongue are really helpful for. That would be almost impossible for an alligator to make. That's why, you know, reptiles mostly do hisses. But yeah, actually, man, anyone who's into like fantasy and linguistics, I would love to bounce ideas off of them. That is something I hope to be a real hallmark of my studio as it grows, is that I'm actually engaging experts in lots of different fields and listening to feedback that's online. Like, can you imagine if the people that run Star Wars or Marvel or whatever were actually actively engaging people in their expertise and adjusting their content accordingly? That'd be the most amazing thing. Why are they not doing it? Because their structure is not built from the ground up to do that. And that's what I hope to be my big innovation, is to have a company that's structured to be able to do that. Sugar Insider on YouTube says, that's awesome. I'll tell him about the form. He lives in Japan now, and is always looking for new ways to use his skills. Great. I lived in Japan when I was a kid, from ages 2 to 7. And I have lots of very magical memories of the place, of lots of temples and festivals, climbing Mount Fuji with my dad. I remember being terrified as we took our van over a floating bridge, which was like actual pontoons with bridge segments, and as you drove they would like tilt back and forth. Terrifying. There was also a freeway that was just a corkscrew that goes up a cliff. It's like this, I don't know, 100, 200 foot cliff. So like a parking garage has those, you know, it's just like the freeway suddenly goes in this corkscrew that goes up. Lots of amazing memories there. Sugar Insider says, lol, you should hear Chris talk about how terrible films with made-up languages are. I'm lost in the subject. Haven't a clue what he's talking about most of the time. Yeah, most people making fantasy worlds, movies, books, really don't care about the technical stuff. And that's fine for most readers, but that is one of the innovations I hope to bring to the genre, is actually taking that stuff really seriously. And let's see, so you can see when I'm holding him like this guy is just like sticking out of nowhere. I only want it visible once this part of the hair starts to come into view, so I need to tilt it either back or forward. I'm not sure which is better. Let's see. Forward. No, forward is worse. I would love for it to kind of fly away, but I do want it to stick to here so I can cast this all in one chunk. closer to final look. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like, cause that just seems like a very different tangent than the rest of his hair. So I won't. Yeah, that makes it harder to keep that threshold unified. Sugar and Cider says he absolutely loves Japan. He's 28 now, so having the same experience as a young child would have. But he loves it. Oh, so not having the same experience. I'll let you be now, as I don't want to distract you. You know, normally it's not distracting, it's just that I have my laptop in here, so like this, I have to like bend over to get towards the screen. Next stream, yeah, don't feel bad about bothering me. I mean, the point of doing this stuff live is to interact with people, and I love doing so. Okay, I think maybe what I need to do is carve down this area a bit. I feel like I'm limited by it bumping into the dreadlock below it. Hello, this is CX5. CX5? You mean the sculpting wax? I can't even read that name, it's too green. Oh, Drop Shot Junkie 1981. How's it going, Drop Shot? I do not know what you mean by this is CX. Oh, is this CX5? Wow. Wow, I'm so tired. And I'm also totally out of sync. Sorry about that. No, this is epoxy. It's epoxy sculpt. I do have a block of CX5. I have not yet come to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna sit down for a weekend and try to learn a completely different sculpting medium. I keep meaning to, that's why I bought it. I bought it aspirationally. I was like, I know at some point, oh yes, at some point, I'm gonna totally be a wax sculptor. But today is not that day. So the base itself is a 3D print, but the hair stuff I'm doing is the epoxy sculpt. Okay, this feels much better. It's got the flow, like it's separate enough to where it makes sense that it's a separate dreadlock, but it's within the overall flow of the hair enough to not be silly. Silly is not the right word, but I think you know what I mean. Wrong. Doesn't look wrong. I'm a fan of trying to make my art not look wrong. Oh, Ivan popped on over at YouTube. It says, hi, can't talk. Need to go to school. Good luck. Thanks, Ivan. Have fun at school. So now I'm just trying to make sure that this thread, and this thread are all attached, kind of beneath the surface, as it were. Without dropping it. That is the challenge. The no drop challenge. Bjorn says, gotta run for the evening. Need to find food, then get some stuff done. Keep up the beautiful work, man. Yeah. Thanks so much for stopping by, Bjorn, and thanks for your stream today. That was super helpful. I really appreciated that. Definitely gonna need to build up the dread around here to kind of cover where it's just kind of poking out of nowhere. Bjorn says, anytime you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Happy to help however I can with Twitch, bots, etc. Sweet. I'll probably be taking you up on that. By the way, if any of you guys don't know, Bjorn's Twitch channel is super cool. He does incredible leather armor and other kind of leather work that I've seen. I don't know if he does other stuff. I need to look into it. But I follow his Instagram too. It's pretty cool. Forgot to do my little medium scale bumpiness before I applied this finer. Alright. Did I want to do anything down here before? Yes, one last little thing. So that when I do resurface this back area, I'm not having to also address any issues that are down in this area. Bjorn says, armor is my favorite, most common thing. Thanks, man. Have a great night. Yep. Have a good night. I'm about to call it as well. This ended up not making this little area better at all. It only made it worse. to be able to fix that with some carving. I'll fix it in post. Finally, I've got this tiny little dab of clay left. I think I'll use it to fix this droopy bit. Alright, let's get this guy back in place. This texture does not want to, I think that clay is setting up too hard. I'm going to have to do another layer to get the texture on this one. That's annoying. Annoying, but not unexpected. Alright. Good. Yeah. Really liking that. I like how this little guy down here is kind of flaring out a little bit, and this one's dangling straight down. You got a lot of variety there. So, variety of this is the spice of realism. All right, you guys. Thanks again. Sorry about the desync issue and all the